G'day YouTube. This is just a bit of a fun video on a side-by-side comparison of Linux Mint 19 versus Windows 10, or in this case, as we have it, Windows 10 on the left versus Windows 19 on the right. So starting off, well, I will say first and foremost that it is like comparing apples and oranges a bit. I can't compare them like I would normally to Linux distributions, but say for example on the left we have the desktop environment of Windows, the Explorer desktop environment, quite a well-known one with its file manager there. On the right we have Linux Mint 19 Cinnamon desktop environment, which is quite plush, quite clean these days, quite nice to see, and I guess that's something I won't get into too much. I also won't get into the kernels too much because it's very difficult to confirm these. But what I will do is get into the resource usage. So say for example on the Linux Mint, it's actually doesn't use a lot of RAM straight out of the gate. It's only 373 megabytes, which is actually really quite low. If I were to attempt to do the same, give me a moment as I find out how to do such a thing. Here we go, nearly there, and insert Control-Alt-Delete. So basically what I'm doing is checking the, I guess the RAM usage, the CPU usage, that kind of thing there. And here we go. So straight off the bat, 1.3 gigabytes of data. I've got nothing open. It's a brand new installation and there's just nothing open there to use. Let's see, the CPU isn't quite idling the same way that it might be on Linux. That's actually debatable looking at these exact current figures. But yeah, the RAM is 1,000 megabytes more, almost literally. That's crazy. So very resource heavy, I could say, in the least for Windows 10 there. And I apologize for taking a few extra seconds to pull that one up on the virtual machine. Next, another issue that I find between the two, or one in particular, is updates. Now, when it comes to Linux updates, Linux system kernel updates, or software updates, they come very, very quickly. With this one, it is a new installation, but it's constantly checking for updates, and it's taking a week or two to get the latest Windows 10 change. It just keeps failing and starting again. That is not secure by any stretch of the imagination. Here we go, awaiting install. Something might be finally happening, but things get patched really quickly, really straight away within Linux community. So that does include Linux Mint 19 as well. Whereas Windows is just so much slower for things to be recognized as issues, then updated, then sent across to any non-enterprise edition of a Windows operating system. So I'm a little bit upset by the Windows update system. I'm so surprised that during the video right now it's managed to do an update, but I bet if I click this again it might have some other updates. Another issue with the updates on Windows is they are very linear in nature. You have to update one, then you have to update another. With Linux, it just comes down to the package that you need, the latest version of that package. You can skip 2 or 3 packages and just move across to it, so it's very good that way. Updates are available, just as expected, so fantastic. Now, I've been a little bit nice to Linux Mint, but it does have some downsides. Now, let's talk about the software. Interestingly enough, with software, you will find that most applications you can get, you'll find in Windows, you can actually get them in Linux Mint or Ubuntu or any distribution of Linux for that matter, but it's usually the open source version. A lot of the times you won't find it's going to be the proprietary version. However, it does happen from time to time. Another issue with, let's call it software, is gaming. Gaming in particular is just something that is very, very difficult to do on Linux Mint. I'll see if I have a game client called Steam there, which you may all know, obviously. You can actually still install Steam on Linux Mint, but it's only got about 10% of the game's catalog, so it's virtually nothing in comparison to what you could be using on Steam. Not to mention the fact that you can't play any other game that's not on Steam for the most part. There is options to sometimes tweak it and get things going through some crossover applications, some middleware that allows you to actually get these games going, like Warcraft or Overwatch or whatever you want. But it's very difficult, it's very buggy, and it's just not worth it in the end. That's what I say. It's just not worth it. So that is a very potential drawback. It's a bit of a compromise in terms of, do you want games, do you want software, do you want security, do you want speed, do you want cutting-edge updates all the time, do you want to have wait for driver updates? It's really it's the again, apples and oranges. They are different in their own way. I sometimes I would recommend a dual boot, and I'll be popping up a video shortly on dual booting because that's in fact what I do. This here, as you can see here, this visualization is not a dual boot. It's simply two virtual machines left and right of each other. But dual booting, of course, is you selected at boot up which operating system you want to use for the day, so to speak. So that's pretty much it, guys. Just a quick rundown on the differences. It's obviously very visually different. Talking about system resources there, security updates and patches, software, games. That's pretty much the summary of the things I've been speaking about. So cheers, guys. Super quick video. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, I've got 1,000 other videos just like this video. So please subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Cheers. Thanks, guys.